All right, welcome back to the Ipswich View. And Ipswich fans are fed up, Iain. They've been sent memes every single day. Norwich fans have tractors with their wheels falling off. Comments on podcasts and forums are flowing from Leeds fans, Southampton fans laughing and giggling and saying it's all over. Ipswich are now done for. But this is the one podcast where we believe in you. We are not going to be talking and mentioning the words wheels falling off and tractors in the
Yeah,
same sentence. How are you?
yeah, fine. I mean, yeah, lots of debate about the gap. Whether it be us referring to Norwich or Leeds referring to us, and people are very quick to kind of shut off to you, but they're just as quick to pull out a comment on a Facebook post from like 4 months ago. So yeah, you could potentially say the natural ascension of order has happened now with the Premier League relegated teams sat at first, second, and third. So
Yeah.
everybody else in the championship, just let you know, from Ipswich's perspective, we're doing this on behalf of you to get our own back at the Premier League teams. There we go.
Absolutely. You've got to stay in there. We can't have the three going up as the three coming down and the yeah, absolutely not.
I understand the whole thing behind the fair play rules because if you're going to invest in your team at Premier League level, you got to pay big wages. And when you come back down, it is a hit, but it's so obvious that it's an uneven playing field out there. People are struggling to kind of get free transfers now because you can't afford the salaries, and there's these clubs spending 20 million. Yeah, it's like
Okay. Let's talk. We're going to talk about the Preston game. Of course, we
yeah,
are. We're also going to talk about your signings and where they're going to fit in, and then we're going to chat to our West Brom fan and preview the game this weekend at Portman Road because, of course, the reverse fixture of this didn't go well for Ipswich, and it was
no,
one of those games that just got away from you. So hopefully you can start putting it right this weekend. We'll talk to Aaron in a minute. Let's first talk about that Preston game though. Now, if you read the Preston forums, which I'm sure you haven't, they all say how lucky they were that game didn't go on for another 2, 3, 4 minutes because had it done so, there is no doubt in their mind
yeah.
that Ipswich would have equalised if not gone on to win it. So was it a case of just a slow starter?
It's the first half syndrome. It's hit us all season. We mentioned the West Brom game at the Hawthorns. We lost 2-0 in the first half. The game was over. Happened again at Preston. I mean, yes, there is, from the Ipswich fans' perspective, Keane pulls on Morsey, takes him to the ground, then gets a shot, a horrible deflection. But I mean, that happens. The second goal, though, two players, both offside, one 2 yards offside. The linesman, he has a photo of it, absolutely perfect view, does not pull it up. I mean, that's that kind of officiating, and that's not just us. It's every team has suffered from this, and people could say, well, just you have to roll with the punches, but something should be done because it's just so poor. It's beyond the joke. But yeah, first half syndrome again. Ipswich left it too late.
And crazy statistics, which we mentioned, I think, before Christmas, but it hasn't gone away, is that in terms of conceding goals in the first 10 minutes of games, Ipswich are the worst
We
in the
are.
whole
Yeah.
championship. Just walk us through what is,
And
what is going on there.
I don't know what it is. It's whether they just come out of the change room, they're not in first gear. But as well as having that stat, we're also got the best stat coming from a behind position, which is hardly surprising when we're the first to always drop behind. And it's interesting. Like I go back to the Maidstone game. We were absolutely pepper pot the goal, but nothing came off against Preston. Within the first 8 minutes, we're 2-0 down. That is already a mountain to climb, and I would suggest probably 90% of teams the team would have just thrown the gloves in at that point. But we didn't. We have got resilience. We do come back. Not enough time on the second half to kind of get that all so elusive equaliser. But I think it was certainly a gallant effort second half. But yeah, it's trying to put my finger on it, and I'm not really sure where to point the blame. I don't think it's any one individual.
All right, let's move on from Preston then, because unlike other channels, as I say, we aren't going to be saying that it's the
Yeah,
end of the road for you. Let's review your ins and outs. That's okay then, and give us a grade
yeah,
for how you've done. Let's talk about the outs first of all. Then, so some loans for well, Nick Hayes. We'll talk the whole of January here. Nick Hayes to Solihull on loan. The one which is surprising was for me, anyways, was Ladapo to Charlton, and then Elkan Baggett has gone on loan to Bristol Rovers.
yeah. I mean, Hayes was just he was just the emergency goalkeeper, to be honest. So he needs to get sharp. I don't think that's not a problem. I think Elkin Baggett going was a surprise, especially to someone like Bristol Rovers, because he is touted as a shining talent. I have to say, whatever club he's at, your social media presence will increase tenfold because he's an absolute idol in Southeast Asia. I mean, he gets like 1 million followers. He's crazy figures. So it'd be good for Bristol Rovers in that respect. The Ladapo, he is a Charlton boy. I know I think he supports Tottenham or Arsenal, but that's his home turf. He'd already spoken to the gaffer. He wasn't getting the minutes. I think they must have, well, in fact, actually, if you listen to Kiefer Moore's interview, the club had already approached him at that point. So I think they were fairly happy that they were going to get Kiefer Moore, which is why they allowed Ladapo to go before we confirmed the signing. Obviously, it was all a bit kind of squeaky bottom time though, because it was all based on the fact did Bournemouth get their player, and that all worked out. So yeah.
Okay. And then your ins. Then let's grade them. From if you grade it for old school A to F, what do you give as a whole package? So, Lewis Travis on loan from Blackburn,
Yeah.
Sarmiento, who we've known about for a couple of weeks now, on loan from Brighton. The Al Hamidi one, which we spoke about last week, and then as Cardiff fans' complete displeasure midweek, who were convinced they were going to sign Kiefer Moore back, is old the Welshman himself. It's pretty not bad, but going, is it?
It's pushing up to an A+ if you ask me, because Kiefer Moore. I look back, Norwich fans will say the Norwich effect is the reason why Ipswich's form's dropped off. I don't think so. That was just a derby. But the next game when we played Leicester and Hurst went off injured in the first 15 minutes, it's only now that you look back and see how many goals we have scored since that game, you realise that actually how pivotal having that big front man as a target is into the whole Ipswich game. And when Kiefer Moore came on Saturday, he was unbelievable. Just sat in that box, absolute pain in their backsides. 2 goals. I see him as an upgrade to Hurst. I really like George Hurst. He's a great player, but I don't think he has maybe the guile of Kiefer Moore. So that's a fantastic signing. And Al Hamidi shouldn't have even come on the pitch on Saturday. He had still suffering with a sore ankle from the Asian Cup, but he got him out there. And again, he was a little bit like a rabbit in the headlights. But he is just go look back some of his catalogue footage on YouTube, and you look at that guy and think, yeah, this guy is going places. 21 years old. So hopefully we've got someone for the future there.
So just before we bring in Aaron, our West Brom fan, Iain is here for the next 16 weeks, previewing all the games as he travels up and down the country. So if you're an Ipswich fan and enjoy what he's talking about, or even if you dislike what he's talking about, we'd be really, really grateful as we try and target our 700 subscriber this week. If you could subscribe to this Ipswich View and our channel. Right, let's bring in then Aaron. Okay, welcome, Aaron. Good evening. How are you?
Hi, Mike. How are you? I'm not too bad.
Good, thank you. You're travelling down to Portman Road then this weekend with the Baggies fans. What do you make of Ipswich? It's a good time to be playing them.
Well, I mean, it's never a good time for West Brom to play away, really. I mean, our record this season speaks for itself. We've not been. I mean, I can't even say how many times we've seen us win away this season. It's not been many. I mean, there's been a few games where we've been okay and not won maybe, but there's also been a few games where we just look out for it. Like, I mean, that happens quite often. We just off it, and then the home team just seem to pile on then and score at home any goals that they can manage to score. And I mean, if you look at our home form, it's like, how can it translate so badly or not translate as in such? But I mean, if you haven't been on a great bit of form, you might look at it as, oh yeah, it's a good time to play them. But at the same time, our away form, it's not great at all. So I can't really say that. Well, I'm not expecting us to do well at all, really.
Iain, happy memories of playing West Brom?
Do you know what there has been? You'll see my image behind me was the big Ron was the manager when we beat them in the FA Cup semi-final. And for the older Baggies fans, they'll remember that. And I think it was when Bobby Robson found that Ron Atkinson had sent his team out to get measured up for FA Cup final suits before the semi-final. That really kind of got to the players. But yeah, I mean, I even think back to, I think it was at 6 or 7-0 we beat them once back in the 70s and 80s as well. So yeah, it's always a good fixture from my perspective. And my mum used to support the Baggies and Aston Villa. depending which boyfriend she had at the time when she was a young girl. So there's like a family kind of connection out there as well. So I always look forward to it. It's always a good game against the Baggies, and they've got a good bunch of fans as well. So I look forward to them coming in numbers to Portman Road.
Yeah, although they've not been behaving themselves quite recently, have they, Aaron?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you get silly fans selling tickets to the Wolves fans. But I mean, I can't speak on that myself.
Okay. All right then, Aaron, just briefly tell Iain what sort of shape Baggies are in terms of injuries and confidence. You beat Birmingham at the weekend, just.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, we won, but it wasn't a great performance. I think I spoke to quite a few Blues fans, and they think, oh, they were on top, but I can't really see any team that was on top as much as anyone else in that game. I thought it was quite even for large parts of the game. Where I mean, Blues had quite a bit of pressure in certain parts of the game, but I mean, if they can't score, they can't score, and that's what tells the game, sort of thing. I mean, we took a long time to score, having brought on a few reinforcements towards the end of the game, but I mean, it paid off. And when you got players like that on the bench, Andy Wyman, the new boys, Callum Marshall and Michael Johnson, it's gonna help. I mean, they're all quick players. Don't get me wrong; they're very fast, especially the two young lads. They're quite direct as well. So they're very exciting players to watch. I mean, obviously, I haven't seen much of them before. Before obviously their cameo they had at the weekend, but they're very exciting. I'm very excited to see how they get on. I think we're into a bit of a good spell now. I mean, a majority of our players are back from injury. I think we only have maybe 2 or 3 key players as such that are obviously not with us at the moment. But DK's back, which is a big thing for us. I mean, we haven't had a striker, out-and-out striker all season, really. Having DK back now is going to be massive for us, I think. I mean, he hasn't really kicked on because he'll play about 5 or 6 games and then sustain a little injury, and then it will sort of carry on, for months on end. And it's sort of like, once he goes once, you're like, will he come back better? I mean, I thought he came back quite well after his latest injury, but obviously he was out for the Wolves game, which obviously was a bit of a shame. But no, I think we're in a good spot at the moment. I think we're a very confident team as always, anyway. But it's just our away form. It just doesn't look good at all. So it's. I mean, it could be a good time to play us, but also a bad time to play us at the time. But you can't really say.
Okay. All right then. So Ipswich trying to get back on this promotion chase. Iain, go for your score predictions first.
I think that the spy in our camp, Jeremy Samiento, would have given us good intel on the players. So I would like to think that we will return to winning ways. Do I be brave enough to say a clean sheet? No, I don't think so. I think it'll be. There's a good chance we'll concede. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Ipswich win.
Absolutely, and I'm definitely going to be saying West Brom score in the first 15 minutes of this game. Aaron, your prediction?
Yeah, I'd go with something similar. I mean, our away form, it's just the only plaguing thing at the moment, and it's like you can't really get excited for away games anymore, especially when you're playing a team such as Ipswich who have been doing well for 99% of the season. So yeah, I can't really see us doing well. I mean, a draw would be nice, but I can't see that happening, and I'll probably say 2-1 as well to Ipswich.
Okay. All right. Okay. Ipswich, West Brom, put your comments below if you would like to predict the score as well. Thank you both for joining us. Cheers, Iain. Cheers, Aaron. Enjoy the game.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.